Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Steve is my favorite part of the show. How's that?
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Check for sound.
Pleasure to be on there talking with Paulie, man. He's a good dude.
I'm an idiot.
I'll just shut up and let you talk. I was trying to help.
And shout out to Tupac.
3, 2, 1, and this is Orange Nation.
Well, hello, Paulie and Steve.
With Steve Infanti and Paulie Sibilia.
Check it out.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us alongside Paulie Sibilia. I'm Steve Infanti. We've made it to Wednesday, middle of the week here on Orange Nation. Couple of guests lined up for you on the show today. Tomas Huck, the goalie for the SU men's soccer team, will be on with us at 12:30 as the Orange getting set for the ACC semifinals tomorrow down in Cary, North Carolina. And then Lucas Favali, voice of the Syracuse Crunch, at 1 o'clock. Crunch playing some good hockey, bouncing back last night with a win out in Utica, wrapping up their 4-game road trip. Now 9-4 on the season. We'll talk with Lucas coming up at 1, plus we'll mix in your phone calls throughout at 315-437-7644. What's up, Paulie?
Not much, Steve. I didn't realize it was noon. You and I were talking, and Tim walked in. And
show started.
The open was already on.
Off we go.
Hey. He's like, no hitter's gone already. I was like, what? And there it was. We weren't even on the air. How'd you sleep last night?
I did okay.
Good.
I did okay.
It's good to hear, Steve.
It was a busy night at work last night. I mentioned the Crunch getting back on track. SU women now 3-0. They've been very impressive through the early part of the season. And again, I know the competition, and they're getting ready to step up in competition themselves. We know the men go to Vegas. They're going to Connecticut to take on Utah and Michigan, and we'll get a better look at the women there. But they've got a lot of talent. And, we expected Sophie Burrows to come in and, at least they have Sophie Burrows. She's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start, at least from scoring-wise and scoring production. They've got a lot of talent around her, and Dominique Darius in particular has been very good, very impressive. Layla Filia with a big night last night. Uche Azoje, the transfer who came over from Japan, she's been very good, and they clobbered Canisius last night. Started the game red hot from the field and went on to win. And we also got to look at Drexel as the next opponent for the SU men. They were in Hamilton to take on Colgate, down big at the half, and scratched and clawed their way back. They were down 19 at the half, cut it to 2 in the second half, but ended up coming up short as Colgate hung on down the stretch and won by 7. But we got to look at a Drexel team last night, Paulie, that at least last night they could shoot the 3, and they shot it very well.
Yeah, but they also lost.
I know.
Yeah, to Colgate, which isn't a good thing, as we in central New York know. That makes it a can't even be close game now to me.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't that to you if you're going to go out and...
Yeah, they're 1-2 now. They lost to St. Joseph's as well. Ended up losing by 11. That was a relatively close game, but, they ended up losing by double figures. And then again, last night at Colgate. It's a game that Syracuse should win, and, you're hoping they win by double figures. But, that's a Drexel team that can be dangerous. They had a pair of guys scored 24 points last night. Again, made 15 threes as a team. Battled back. They did show some zone. They played a little 3-2 zone last night, which, it'll be interesting to see how Syracuse handles being zoned, because, that may happen this year in ACC play, especially if they prove that, they're not super consistent shooting the 3. And again, I think it's too early to make that observation yet. But they haven't shot it all that well from 3-point range to this point. And if Drexel zones them on Saturday, it'll be interesting to see how they react.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. We've seen a 1-3-1 already early on. I think they'll be fine because you'll get open looks. I mean, at least that's what I was told. When you play the zone, you get open looks at the 3.
Got to knock him down.
Steve, I spent money a year hearing that you give up too many 3s. That in the
if you
zone.
know how to attack it, you should get open shots, right?
Yeah. Yesterday also, Wake Forest hung in there with Michigan last night.
Well, they more than hung in there. They probably should have won the game. They were up 6 or 7 with like 2 minutes to go in regulation, and then Michigan was able to force overtime, and Wake had a shot to win it in overtime, down by 1, and didn't go for them. But that would have been a nice win for the ACC out of conference.
Yeah, Florida State hung in there with Florida.
Yep.
That's a hang in there. That's a good hang in there.
Yeah, that was a close game right until the very end.
Worry you when you're seeing things like this?
I tell you what worries me. I watched
Louisville.
I watched the end of those games last night. That's where I was going next. Is I watched that Louisville game start to finish. I had it on in the office while I was doing work. They are really good. They ended up winning by 8 over Kentucky. I mean, I don't think the final score was indicative of how badly they beat Kentucky last night. They were up double figures for really a majority of that second half, and then Kentucky went on a big run at the end of the first half to close a big gap, and then the lead ballooned again, and then they went on a big run at the end of the second half to make it respectable. But Louisville plays fast. Everybody can score. They're long, athletic. They get after you defensively. You might not know that judging by the final scores. It was, played in the 80s and 90s. But, man, they are super athletic. That Louisville team looks really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, the ACC looks like it's going to be pretty strong. In the year you didn't want it to be pretty strong. So you're going to have to go out and win some games. Well, BC stinks.
BC does stink. Central Connecticut State, they lost by 1 to Central Connecticut State last night. You say you don't want it to be strong. I understand what you're saying, but also if the profile of the conference is better and it allows them maybe an extra bid or 2 in the NCAA tournament, we keep saying it might be hard to crack that top 5. If the ACC can get 6 or 7, now I think that opens the door for a team like Syracuse to kind of get in on bid number 5, 6, or 7.
You're hoping this is it's not right now because you're just losing these games by 1 and 2 points to good teams. You're hoping you're going to pull an SEC from last year, but you're struggling already. You're behind the 8 ball. It's good to be close against Michigan and Florida State against Florida, but you got to win those games if you want the conference to be better.
Yeah, and it is a shame because, you looked at those 2 games you mentioned last night. Wake Forest was up, I think it was 6 or 7 in the last 2 minutes. Florida State was up on Florida a majority of that second half as well. It was kind of nip and tuck, and Florida got them at the end. Carolina does have that big win over Kansas. But, we expect Carolina to be one of the marquee teams there. So you're right. I mean, in these preseason, multi-team events, the ACC, SEC Challenge, ACC is going to have to show up and they're going to have to perform well across the board. And it was, again, it's nice to see that they're right there in these games. But to your point, it would have been great if Wake had knocked off Michigan last night in Michigan. That would have been a nice feather in the ACC's cap.
Yeah. And Tim said we could start with whatever we wanted to, and this has been rattling around in my brain for like 2 days, was Coach K saying that the ACC and the Big East should merge basketball. And if he's kind of right, Steve, if you're going to be the 4th best football conference, why not go out and be the number 1 basketball conference? And yes, there's more money to be split up amongst the schools, but you got to think the TV deal would be way more lucrative than any other conference when it came to basketball. And you could divvy it up into divisions, and you'd get Syracuse, UConn, Pitt, Georgetown again. Everybody would be happy, but you'd also be in a power conference.
I mean, it would be fun. You say that the TV contract would have to be astronomical to keep all 24 teams happy, right? Or
yeah,
whatever
you would
it ends up
probably
being.
add more than what the Big East gets.
It'd be more than 24 teams. Yeah. I mean, and how do you divvy that up among like the ACC would have to get more than the Big East schools, wouldn't
Absolutely.
they? Yeah,
Yeah, well, you'd get your football money, and then the
But
basketball.
I'm saying even with basketball, though, I mean, I don't know.
There's a lot people
Like, is North Carolina going to get the same amount as DePaul?
Let's not do math on the air, Steve. Smarter people will figure it out.
Okay, so they just got to figure it out.
And then you do the TV like you do in football, where your
most watched games and stuff. Yeah,
nobody's watching DePaul play.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's that would be the part that would concern me, like DePaul, BC.
And then you could add UConn in football. You could add,
Man, that would be a headache.
Why?
I don't know. Just there's so many teams and so many moving parts. I like the concept.
There would be divisions.
Yeah, no, I know.
It would be fun, and the travel would be less. Maybe you boot the two California schools back to the Pac-10. You work out a deal, get them out of here. Your footprint would be the Atlantic coast.
Yeah. I don't know the legality of that in terms of, because there's obviously an exit fee if a school were to leave. I would imagine that there's got to be protection the other way, too.
Yeah.
Right? So, the conference can afford it, but do they really want to pay to have Stanford and Cal go away? There's a lot to be figured out with it. It's an interesting topic to think about, and
I think it would save the ACC. And someone said Bill said ACC should merge with the SEC. Why I don't get why the SEC would do that.
Yeah, I don't know that would be beneficial to that conference. They're in pretty good shape right now.
Yeah,
they're in pretty good shape.
But yeah, I think it would be awesome.
From being a basketball fan, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I don't know how they separate it. Maybe you just go football only and then basketball only. The money is divvied that way. But
so that's my question, though, is Duke and North Carolina, with Clemson, Virginia.
With that many schools, too, though, you could reach out to different carriers. You could have games on
all different networks.
Peacocks and Apples.
I think it's just one Peacock. I don't know if it's plural.
Peacocks and Apples, and I caught myself. I was going to do it. I was going to try and cover my ass by putting an S on everything. Okay. The Foxes. Okay. The ESPNs.
I mean, there are ESPNs. That's true. There are Foxes. I don't think there's Peacocks. I think there's just one.
Well, you've got the regular over-the-air NBC, and then you've got the Peacock. Yeah, there's plenty of Peacock.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're not wrong, Paulie. How about that? You're not wrong. Unlike what Dan Hort said many years ago.
And maybe you could just work out, you remember they were going to do a Big Ten ACC thing before all the expansion happened, where it was kind of just a partnership.
Yeah.
Maybe you just do that.
The tricky thing with the Big East is the whole football piece, right? Because this isn't truly partnering up with another conference and saying hey, we'll play you in football, we'll play you in all sports. The Big East obviously can't provide that. So I think that's the tricky part, and keeping everybody happy. If you merge for basketball only, I don't know. I feel like that's what's the saying? Too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't know if you're going to get everybody to agree on what's fair and balanced.
And how you would do an end-of-season tournament with
my God,
30 teams.
Yeah, you have to start now.
Oh, but if we could go back to the Garden,
that would be fun. There would be some benefits, no doubt. And seeing Syracuse, UConn play again, or Syracuse, Georgetown, Villanova, St. John's, all of that would be fun.
You could have two separate. That would be fun too. The East teams play at the Garden. The Southern teams play in Charlotte, and then the two winners meet
DC.
In DC. Yeah, that would be awesome for one game.
The Big East tournament sub-regional.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same ring as a Big East tournament final in the Garden,
maybe you just do the final in the Garden then. You have two different regions, and that'd be fun. It's not going to happen for years if it does happen. Although I say that, and it could come out tomorrow that they're doing it next year, because that's how fast.
Well, I was going to say, things these days with college athletics, move at warp speed at times. So, never say never. But it's interesting to think about. I don't know that it's going to happen anytime soon, and I think that, again, the fact that the Big East doesn't bring football to the table complicates that whole idea. But it would be, I think, for the nostalgic SU basketball fan and Big East basketball fan, it would be very cool.
Yeah, and the school that would benefit the most from it is UConn.
Yeah, I mean, St. John's is another one. Well, you say UConn because of football, but I think the schools that are high profile in the Big East that don't have to pay money to football, like a St. John's, their profile would go up even more being in a conference like that, and they could just, again, I mean, if they get the right boosters and right NIL money, and I mean, they could be a power again. I mean, they are a power right now, but you get my point. I think they would benefit from something like that.
Yeah, and I'm not normally the guy who's like, I don't pine for Syracuse, Georgetown.
I know you don't.
But hell, it'd be, if it was every year and it was for something, it would be nice.
Yeah.
Because then it would actually, the rivalry kind of lost its sting when the game really didn't matter.
Right. And both teams weren't very good. I mean, that's why the
Syracuse, there was a point where Syracuse was really good and they were bad.
And Georgetown was awful.
Yeah.
Yes, right. And that's what I was going to say is that's part of what made the rivalry is that they were always playing. Both teams were always in the top 20. Both teams were always vying for first place in the Big East Conference or vying for a Big East tournament title, a regular season title. All the games, to your point, meant something. And they got away from that, not just because, yes, part of the reason was they weren't in the same conference, but another part of the reason was they weren't good at the same time.
Yeah. And my name is Big Poppy says, and the rivalries dwindled because Boeheim and the coaches like Thompson and them are going, yeah. And we're seeing that in the ACC right now, too. Like, all the good coaches, like when Syracuse got into the ACC, it was a huge name for coaches.
Sure.
And now, now it's who?
Right.
Everywhere.
Right. A lot of new coaches around the league, relatively new in their first, second, third year, running the programs. All right, let's take a timeout. That was our opening drive. It's brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero. We'll open up the phone lines if you want to check in at 315-437-7644. Tomas Hutt, the goalie for the SU men's soccer team, joins us at 12:30. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Point Guard Advisors and Burdick Ford are proud supporters of game day radio coverage of Syracuse football. We are the pulse of the Orange. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.
The newest offer from McGuire Chrysler.
How we doing, guys? Oh. Can we get Coach K? I'm trying to book Coach K. I want to hear his breakdown. Come on, Tim. You got it in you. What would we give Tim if he booked Coach K? Buy him lunch? Steve would be aroused.
Will you stop?
Fully. How hard would it be for you to do the show with that big of a...
I've interviewed him before. Somebody call him.
Steve would be full on. I would buy Tim dinner or lunch if he booked Coach K at the restaurant of his choosing.
Yeah, CJC, I saw that going back to Yankee Stadium, the Cortica.
Oh, that's a good idea. I could text Coach Boeheim. We're boys. I'm never late.
Always on time.
That was an old one. His latest compliment was, I am one of the hardest workers in the business.
And not saying, he didn't say it to us. He said to somebody else. He said, I was talking with somebody who knows a lot about basketball.
That's right.
He said that to Mario.
Mm-hmm. And I do know a lot about basketball. You can't take more than 2 steps or it's a travel. I think we could get Jay Billis easy. I don't know why we haven't had him on. That's a Jordan problem. I think he would come on in a second. Josh Pastner, he was seeking me out in the pregame handshakes to come up and tell me I should fly. It was weird.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of Rick Beardsley.
Don't talk about Steve's hero that way. Would you wear Duke Blue for that? Did you know that Oscar the Grouch is orange? I learned this yesterday. They wanted him to be fuchsia, but they didn't think it would show up on Color TV because Color TV was new. And so they made him orange. And then they decided he would be better off green. So they sent him to a swamp. They made a skit where he went to a swamp and he got covered in moss and mold.
Huh.
And then he never showers because he lives in a trash can. So he's actually orange.
How did you find this out as an adult?
It's amazing what comes across your
Googling that.
Your TikToks as you get older, in your reels.
He was originally orange. In the whole first season, he was orange.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to share that with somebody today. I don't know who yet.
Yeah, that's why
Maybe my daughter.
That's why I just shared it with you. It was too fun not to share.
Yeah, I got to tell somebody that.
You ever get a story that's so dumb that you had to tell it to everyone?
No, because that's going to be like, it'd be like, really? I'd be like, yeah.
Ask the whole family. Like, ask it as a trivia question. What color is ours?
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Is that what someone called it?
I was going to say that made it sound like somebody's
I was
checking.
a little surprised you voted for today's artist. Welcome back to Orange Nation. I was a little surprised you voted for this yesterday.
Yeah, so
Rage Against the Machine.
The reason I did is you said we were going to sit here until I voted for either yours or Tim's. So I just voted along with Tim because sooner or later I'm going to need his help to vote for me for an artist of the day. Because you just do your own thing. But I feel like Tim,
I'm not a sheep.
I could be like, hey, Tim, come on, I voted for yours the other day. And he'll be like, okay, I'm going with Steve.
It's Rage Against the Machine, and this is How I Could Just Kill a Man, Steve. Don't push me, or you'll learn.
I can fire you. I won't, but just know that I can fire you.
Yeah. Could also murder you. You remember that?
Yes.
Just remember, I got it in me. We all got it in us. You just keep not participating in bits that we do on the radio, and you'll learn. You'll either get fired or a beat down like none other. Quickly, Steve. I shared this with you. Should I save it for the 45? I just shared it in the chat.
I mean, it's big news, but you can save it if you want.
Okay. I mean, it's earth-shattering. It rocked my world.
It fits in well with the 45.
Yes. I'll ask our Lee Baldwin guy the question and then see if he knows.
Okay, and then we'll share it with our listeners.
Yes.
Those are in qsportstalk.com right now in the chat. Already know what the question is and the answer for that matter. So you should join us there. But it's a great little nugget, and it fits in perfectly with that segment.
Steve, we've been talking about Syracuse football and the wins and losses. Are you a little worried about Fran Brown? In the it's not even off the field stuff. It's the post game, in game, on the field stuff that has been getting churned around in the social medias.
Am I concerned about it? No. I think he is who he is, and I think we were talking about this off air the other day. I think some of what you're seeing being churned around in the social medias or whatever you just worded it as, I think that's just him, and that's partly what makes him such an effective recruiter and relatable with young men. And, no, I'm not worried about it at all. And, if you're talking about the John with Mario Cristobal, I mean, they are both competitive. Like, Fran Brown is competitive, and he's not afraid to back down from anybody. And he had those comments earlier in the year, right around, I think it was before the season started, actually, talking about, don't come at my players, don't try to poach my players. And there was a lot of speculation, and this, we've never asked him this, and I don't know if he would go on the record saying it anyway, but there was a lot of speculation that was in regards to Miami. And so there is, and obviously Syracuse kept him out of the playoff last year, and then, he went on TV and was like, Dabo, we got you in, and all that. And, I think that there is a little bit of animosity on the Miami side toward it. But does it bother me? No. I mean, I think that's just, it is who he is. And I think that's why he's such an effective recruiter.
And I get it. He's the same guy, whether he's won 10 games or 3, but it's kind of a weird look when you're struggling is the only thing I have. So you better be able to back it up. Or, I think I said this to you yesterday when we were talking about it off air, that we're going to look back on the Michael Irvin thing, the Cristobal thing, the fan incident in 4 years, and it's either going to be hysterical because they're winning games, or it's going to be a joke because he was acting like that and wasn't able to win games.
I will say this, him going up to Michael Irvin saying, enjoy this now, because you got the sound?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
How you doing? All due respect. I love how you play. Don't get used to I got you, bro. I got you, coach. I appreciate you, so I appreciate your intensity, coach. That's good. That's what it takes. Good job, man. Good job.
Basically, again, if you couldn't understand it, Fran Brown was complimentary of Michael Irvin and Miami and just said, don't get used to this blank. And here's the thing. Like, we've heard Fran since he got here talk about making a college football playoff and competing for national championships, and anything less than that is, he said, a loser's mentality to want to finish 4th or 5th in the conference. Like, you want to finish first. And here's the thing, like, since you and I have been covering this team, so going back to the end of Coach B, I loved Coach B. So I'm going to say right after Coach B, let's look at all the other coaches, Robinson and Marone and Schaefer and Dino. And if any of those guys had said that, and I'm sure that they said something like that, at some point, I don't know that we ever really believed that. And I can only speak for myself. And of those 5, Fran is the one, and this last year and a half, it's the one time in the last 20 years that I have bought that. And I thought, you know what? It could be possible for them to compete for ACC titles and a college football playoff bid. And some of it is that there's 12 spots now, and obviously those guys, were coaching at a time where there was 4. And so I understand that. But I do believe that Fran Brown has a vision. Yeah. And I buy into it.
Yeah. But it's not as easy as just saying it's going to happen. It's hard to win football games.
Of course. But I'm saying of those 5, if any of those guys are, let's say all of them said it, who you believe in the most?
Right now, him. But if Dino had said it after the 10-win season, I'd probably buy in,
Maybe.
I mean, they extended him, so people thought it was going to happen again.
Yeah.
So people smarter than me thought it was going to happen again.
Yeah. All right, we can circle back to this. We don't want to get behind here. We've got our next guest standing by set to join us. Tomas Hutt, the goalie for the SU men's soccer team, will join us on the other side. The Orange getting set to play in the ACC tournament semifinals tomorrow. We'll talk with Tomas next on ESPN Radio.
Should we do this as because I'm not going to probably ask a question. Should we have it just be you on the camera shot?
Okay.
And that way when you throw to it for...
Okay. If you don't want to.
Is that possible? Is that doable?
Do you think, what I was thinking for today is I might actually run a little bit of this and a little bit of Lucas Favali. Are you going to take part in that or no?
You don't have to.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Then just that's fine. Yeah. I'll say this, LA Orange. I thought Dino was a good coach, and I think he got blamed for things that weren't necessarily his fault. But I think that I think the potential with Fran Brown here is higher than at any other point in the last 20 years in terms of where he can lead the program. But I thought Dino was a good coach, and I think that he got blamed. I kind of look at Darryl Gross the same way. I think he got blamed for some stuff that wasn't necessarily his fault either.
Phillies Most Wanted also, I think we did a segment where we thought Dino left the cupboard more full than Jim Boeheim did for Autry.
Yeah, I think Dino did some really good things, but I think Fran Brown, I think the potential with Fran Brown here is higher than the potential when Dino was here. So both things can be true. I can still like Dino, but I think Fran Brown is better for Syracuse football.
It's just amazing how everything gets caught on camera now.
Yeah.
No matter, I hate it. I'd be in jail right now, Steve, if I grew up in this era. Would you bail me out, Steve, if I was in jail?
I would, 100%.
You're a good man.
100%.
That's not what I said. I said, are you worried about it? I didn't say he looked like a fool. It's just, you got to be able to back stuff like that up. I know. That's what a bro does. He doesn't ask why I'm in jail. That's right. A brother bails people out, no questions asked. And then he's like, what did I bail you out for?
What'd you do?
You did what? Welcome back to Orange Nation. The artist of the day, Rage Against the Machine. This would be a good band if I was a rage lifter, Steve. If I went to like Planet Fitness and was throwing steel and was like a rager, they'd be good because they're Rage Against the Machine.
Would help you get hyped.
Yeah, but I'd listen to anything.
Yeah, I know you do. Talk about getting hyped. This SU men's soccer team is playing awfully well of late. 3 wins over ranked opponents this last month. They now find themselves in the ACC tournament semifinals, taking on SMU tomorrow night down in Cary, North Carolina. And we're so pleased to be joined by Tomas Hutt, the starting goalie for the SU men's soccer team. Tomas, congratulations on this run that you guys are on. Thanks so much for joining us. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. We're actually about to head out to Cary soon for match day -1, so pretty excited for it. But thank you guys for having me.
All right, well, thank you for coming on and finding time for us in your busy schedule. I know you guys are preparing to play, so we won't keep you too long here, but let's go back to Sunday night. And you guys all knew the deal, right? That if you win that match, most likely you're in the NCAA tournament, but it wasn't going to be easy. That team is as good as they come, that NC State squad. You guys got outshot by 8, yet you win the game 3-0. Was that one of the more, I guess, one of the crazier games you've ever been a part of?
For me, definitely. It was definitely a crazy game for me. I had my career high, which I'm thankful to have, and kept a clean sheet. But no, I mean, we knew what they were going to bring. We played them 2 weeks ago. So it was the same exact thing other than a couple of their guys coming back. Made it a little bit tougher, but at the end of the day, we knew we had to get it done in order to get to the semis, in order to get that at-large bid. And the group's really been just blending super well this past few months. So we're super excited for it, and we think it's a good matchup for us tomorrow.
You know, we hear all the time talk about, athletes in a zone, whether it's, a basketball player who can't miss or a quarterback who is just on the money, that particular night. For you, can a goalie be in the zone? Because you seemed like you were in a zone on Sunday night.
Yeah, for sure. For me, first 20 minutes, I was definitely nervous, definitely anxious. I honestly rather make the first save super early out, and then I kind of find like my little flow state. But I think in the first half, 25 minutes in, I made my first save, and after that, it just kind of flips on. And for me, once I find that and I find that flow state, in the back of my mind, I'm like, nothing's going in. But thankfully, I have the boys in front of me. They helped me out on a few of them, some goal line clearances as well. So it was nice to have that. But clean sheet at the end of the day, and it's all that matters.
I feel like, if you get that first goal, it probably relaxes you as a goalie or relaxes the defense in front of you a little bit. But there was no relaxing against NC State. They kept coming at you, and were really peppering down the stretch of that game. I guess, can you speak to just how intense the last, 20 minutes of that contest were on Sunday night?
Yeah, definitely stressful. In soccer, they always say a 2-0 lead is the worst lead. I mean, if they scored one with 25 minutes left, they have all the momentum, and we're already on our heels, kind of trying to sit in the low block. But it was definitely stressful, but we've done it before. We've done it all season. We did it against UNC a couple weeks ago when we were man down after a red card, and then we still pulled out the 1-0 win. So we've been in that position before. We've been in a lot of different positions this year. We've gone through a lot of adversity, but with 2-0, I knew we were going to get the third, and thankfully Chim put it away, and it kind of sealed the deal. And it was really nice kind of watching all their fans clear out the stadium after that third goal.
That 2-0 goal, that was some goal. It was Carlos Zambrano, the perfect corner kick, bends it around and in. Second time he's done that this year. For those of us who don't play soccer, how hard is that to do, to execute a perfect corner kick like that?
Yeah, no, it takes a lot of precision. I know the ref gave Carlos a little bit of a hassle on where the ball was placed. He was saying that it wasn't on the line, like it's already in play. So we're kind of making jokes about it, that the ref gave Carlos the assist by making him move the ball. But no, it's very difficult. It's very hard to get your hips around the ball in order to put it back to basically where you're standing, but just 30 yards in front of you. And thankfully, their goalie kind of just didn't do what he was supposed to, and it hit the post and went in for number 2.
Let's talk, I guess, big picture here, Tomas. And you look at this last month. I mentioned 3 wins over ranked opponents, plus a tie of NC State in that regular season finale, 1-1. What has changed for you guys? What is working now that, again, maybe some of those matches earlier in the year that went against you, the result now is falling in your favor?
Yeah, I think we're honestly just starting to just trust each other. I don't really think there's ever been a time where one guy's questioning another guy playing over him, or like there's no bad guy in the locker room. Everyone's got a good mindset, like whether they're playing or not, or whether they're just practice players and they haven't seen minutes, or if they're in the rotation. Everyone's got a great mindset. Everyone's always happy for the guy in front of them. And I can speak for it myself. I mean, I did it my first year here, and thankfully I have Kyle Jansen right behind me this year, and he's been great for the past 2 years behind me. Him and I are best friends. Like, we talk daily, even when we're not practicing together. So I think just the culture that we have right now carries a lot of weight, and it's something that other locker rooms just don't have, or it's falling apart towards the end of the season when things really start to heat up.
Let's look ahead to tomorrow's match. You've got SMU again, a team that you saw about a month ago, and you beat them. Obviously, a very good opponent who's coming off a big win themselves. What can you tell us about this particular SMU squad, and what's it going to take to come out with another win?
It's going to be a similar matchup to the one we had a few months ago. Obviously, they have some momentum. We have some momentum right now. So I think the adrenaline's definitely going to be kicking for both teams. But I think if we just stick to the game plan, to what we have to do tactically, kind of keep their wingers out of the game, not give them anything like we did last game, I think we'll be in a good spot. And hopefully, either Shaquille can put one in again, or Carlos off a corner, or even Chim on an 80-yard run. I'll take any one of them. But any three of those I'll take, and with a clean sheet, and I think we'll be in a good spot for the final.
Tomas Hutt joining us here on Orange Nation for another couple of minutes. Talking about you personally, take us back, if you could, to 2023, and you had a decision to make about where to go. At Army, you went from being a starter at Army to being a walk-on, here, and then not playing in your first year at Syracuse, and here you are as the star goalie on this team that's most likely, almost certainly heading to the NCAA tournament. What led to your decision to come here? Why did you want to come to Syracuse?
I mean, obviously coming off a national championship, that helps the recruiting process. And then I actually went on a visit. Army let me sneak away for a few days. So I came on a day visit here with my dad. We drove up, and just seeing the environment, it was completely different than what I was already experiencing at Army. And it honestly just fit more of what I wanted to do soccer-wise. I've always wanted to pursue soccer. And then I obviously my academics as well. So I knew Syracuse had a good balance of both. Obviously, coming off national championship, one was a little higher than the other. And one of my friends from back home, Kurt Kaloff, who was on that national championship team and scored in the final, I talked to him a little bit about the team and whatnot. And unfortunately, he transferred out that year. He went back home to Rutgers. But I think just the coaching staff was very open and honest. They told me that Jason Smith was coming in, that he was transferring in as well with me. So I was one of 5 keepers, and it was tough. My first year was tough, but, just developing day in and day out was the most important part for me, and kind of just having that chip on my shoulder and just trying to prove myself every day.
Does it make it a little more satisfying to you to, see that your hard work paid off and you stuck it out and now you're, kind of benefiting from the fruits of your labor? I mean, do you feel like you made the right decision, I guess? Maybe a strange question to ask, but it seems like you certainly did.
Yeah, definitely. I think I did make the right decision. Even in that 23 team where I didn't play, I made lifelong friends. I call them day in and day out. Even whether they're still here, 2 of them are still here with me, or they transferred out or just, finished college up. But I made lifelong friends on that team, and thankfully it paid off, and I played last year and this year. So I'm just hoping that we can get that ring on Sunday.
And I guess, last question personally before we move back to the team. Have you thought about, once you graduate, what's next for you, soccer or otherwise?
Yeah, I'm just hoping to continue the soccer career. Body feels good. Been performing pretty well, keeping us in it. So I'm just hoping I get a chance, whether it's in the MLS or overseas. I'm really hoping for an opportunity to just show what I can do and just keep developing, because goalies' primes are a little later than field players, thankfully. So I'm just hoping that that opportunity arises and I can take advantage of it.
Let's go back to the team here for a moment. It seems like with Coach McIntyre, his teams always seem to play their best soccer at the very end of the season. What is it about his message or the message from the coaches, or what has allowed you guys, from a coaching perspective, to really peak at the right time?
Yeah, Mac does a great job of honestly just firing us up towards the end of the season. I'm pretty sure it was after the Cornell game. We just lost to Pitt, just lost to Cornell. And then we had NC State coming up, and he was like, it's do or die, but we have everything we need in this group. The adversity that we've been through, from losing early on, having a 2-4-2 record at the beginning of the season, and then now to having 3 top 25 wins. This last little 10-game stretch has really been great. And just taking the momentum off of that, he kind of just reminds us that, within the 27 guys on the team, that's all we need. We've been through everything, so trust him and his tactics and the coaching staff and the research that they do on film, and just put it together and just work on that field, and it'll all pay off.
Last one for you, Tomas. You may or may not be aware of this, but within the last hour, you've been named to an All-ACC selection. Congratulations on that. What does that mean to you?
Thank you. It means a lot. Definitely, shows me a little bit that all my hard work paid off. But again, like I said, it doesn't mean anything without the team winning a ring on Sunday. So without that, I'm not too satisfied with it. But hopefully in these next couple of days, we can bring that home, and then it'll all come together.
All right, next step tomorrow against SMU down in Cary, North Carolina in the ACC semifinals. Tomas, thanks so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Congratulations on a great year to this point. Continued success the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All right, you as well. Tomas Hutt joining us here on the show. And with that, we'll take our final time out in hour number 1. We'll check in on the market. Paulie's got a little nugget for us that he's going to pass along. We're back after this on ESPN Radio. Seemed like a good guy.
What?
Seemed like a really good guy.
Yeah. That was good teamwork. I think I said we should try and get Coach McIntyre on again. Steve said we should get somebody soccer, and then Tim followed through and crushed it. That's good teamwork. I sent a picture of a dog enjoying Rubby Roos to Steve yesterday.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I don't mind when you send me videos.
The dog was sad and had its ears flopped down, and then it got all happy when it got its Rubby Roos.
Jeep Ram of Syracuse now and drive home in a new 2026 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn 4x4 and pay just $499 a month for 42 months. Only $499 a month, or purchase with 0% financing for 60 months with 90 days until your first payment. Come see us at McGuire Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Syracuse. Shop our massive inventory.
Why should Steve have been an adult in the 80s? He would have missed out on all the coke and the greed and the fun. Steve should have been alive in the Leave It to Beaver era.
Why is that?
Because you're like, gee, Wally. And I'd be like Eddie Haskell.
You had me laughing with our exchange about the cartoon figure. That's funny.
I was only joking about the first one, like I didn't care. Then they made me look like a robber from like the 50s cartoon robber. Like guy who's going to steal someone's Cookie Crisp. Yes, that is true. Steve was teammates with the coach of Drexel.
Yeah, Zach Spiker. We played together at Ithaca.
Why isn't he on our show? Doesn't like you?
I'll get him.
Were you a bad teammate? You didn't like you? Were you a cancer, Steve?
I thought he was in my phone, but he's not, so I got to reach out to the school. I actually looked yesterday. No, he's a good guy.
We had him on before.
I know. Remember when I switched phones, I lost a bunch of contacts? I lost his contact.
He told you to delete. Don't ever call me.
He said delete my number, and I did.
Yeah. You would, too. You'd be like, oh, okay, sorry. Steve, all you need is a miracle. Is she like making the mechanics?
See that?
The Living Years. That's a sad, sad song.
Oh, good. It's Lee. We got Lee today.
All right. Can I ask Lee?
He'll play along.
Look at that, Lee. All right. This is wild. Radio listeners are about to have their minds blown.
People come up.
Rage Against the Machine is our artist of the day. Not very good at my job, Steve. You ready to find out about the markets? And I'm ready to blow the radio listeners' mind.
I can't wait. Let's bring out our good friend Lee Baldwin from Lee Baldwin and Company. Lee, before we get to the markets today, Paulie has a question.
I have a trivia question for you. What color is Oscar the Grouch?
Blue.
No. He's orange, but he's actually green because there's a backstory that he was orange in the first year of Sesame Street, and then he went to a swamp and he got covered in algae and mold, and he lives in a trash can, and it was green after. It's
a great nugget. I had no clue either, Lee. I think it's a great thing, though. I mean, we've all seen Sesame Street
1,000 times. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we know the original color of Oscar the Grouch was orange. I'm gonna share with all my friends today. You can as well.
It's amazing what pops up on the internet when you're just bored and old.
All right. So now that the nonsense is out of the way, how about the market today?
Well, no nonsense with the Dow. The Dow continues to move higher, up 360 points. That's on top of yesterday's gains, which took the Dow to an all-time high. Our diamonds today, I'm going with Visa and MasterCard. They're both up in part on news of a possible settlement in their 20-year battle with merchants over what they charge. And Disney gets the dog. They do report earnings tomorrow, but the stock's in a rut and is down for the past 5 years. Maybe this whole YouTube TV thing battle with ESPN is not the best for them either.
Yeah. Well, good news on the market. Things seem to be moving in the right direction. So thank you, Lee, as always, for coming on. Yeah, we will take it. All right, Lee, thanks for coming on. Yeah. All the diamonds, none of the dogs. Be sure to visit LeeBaldwin.com.
I live in a trash can. Little known fact.
I did not know that.
So that was my nugget.
I'm going to share with all my coworkers at Channel 9 today. I'm going to tell my kids.
Satchel Sexist, I told my wife about Oscar the Grouch, and she immediately asked for a divorce. Come on, how could I watched that video 3 times. I was like,
I had to Google it after you told me. I was like, is that true?
So yeah, the whole story is color TV was in its infancy,
right,
when they started, and they wanted to make Oscar fuchsia, but they didn't know if it would show up, so they made him orange. And then they decided they didn't like orange, but other colors would work, so they made him green. And in order to make him green, they sent him to a swamp where he got covered with algae and mold. And, he lost his football game and never showered.
I Googled what color is Oscar the Grouch, and the first picture I saw was him orange in the first season. So the whole first season he was orange. And
that was him clean, Steve.
Yeah.
That was after a win.
Blows my mind. That
was
blew my
year
mind.
one of his program building.
He won 10 games that year, showered a lot.
He had Kyle McCord that year and stayed clean.
Oh, that's a great nugget. I told you it was worth it. Hopefully our listeners
think
it was worth it.
Hopefully that was enjoyable for them, yes.
Yes, it was for me. I immediately Googled it, make sure that you were telling facts.
I normally like this time of year, Steve, because, the past few years it's been kind of the doldrums of sports where, last year football was good, but, the winter meetings are starting. Baseball. The hot stove, as the kids call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't touch it. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how teams, who gets traded. There's so many huge name rumors. Like the fact that the Tigers could have Skubal, available. Could you imagine him on the Yankees, Padres, Skeens? Would they trade Skeens?
Yeah.
Because they know they're not going to pay him?
I mean, they're saying no publicly, but everybody's got a price, right?
Yeah, if you're not going to keep him, the sooner you get rid of him, the more you're getting for him.
Right, of course. But then you also know that every time he pitches next year, it's a sellout. So
yeah, well, then sign him.
Yeah, I don't know. They got to figure out. They're just sitting back. They're taking calls, and sooner or later somebody's going to offer him something that blows him away.
The whole time the Padres had Juan Soto, they were saying they weren't trading him, and 2 days later he was a New York Yankee.
Right. Yeah, you can't believe everything that you see, right? I mean, and some of that too could be them coming out saying, no. I think the line was something along the lines of we're listening to the calls. Of course we are, but he's not going anywhere. So it's almost like, all right, keep those calls coming. But
up your offers. Let's see what you got.
Everybody's got a price. So. I see Phil in the chat brings up Pat Murphy, the local guy, CBA, and went to Lemoyne. He
loves Central New York.
National League Manager of the Year. It's funny you should say that. Yes, after my interaction with him last year, but yes, local guy winning National League Manager of the Year back-to-back seasons now.
Former Padres skipper.
Yeah,
was not Manager of the Year.
Not happy with no.
What do the Yankees need? Do they keep Grisham and hope that he does that again? Because
he was awesome.
I hate that guy.
I know you do.
He stinks. I think he fool's gold. Like I think that was a.
It was a fluke.
Yeah, it definitely is a fluke if you're going by his whole career.
Right.
But is that sustainable? Is third base more important? Do you want Bellinger?
A lot of questions. You're right.
Or is Bellinger going to regress back to what he was? I think he's a guy the Yankees can afford to take a flyer on because they can afford it.
Yeah,
like you could pay him, and if he stinks, that's New York money.
Right, exactly. Relegate him to the bench or what have you. Yeah. Yeah, it's man. I love the fact that you were. I don't love the. I was gonna say I love the fact that you were devastated. Now you're right back on the horse. I don't love the fact you were devastated when the Padres lost. But look at you, like you're all excited about baseball again. See,
I love baseball.
This is what happens to me and the Bills. So.
Yeah, I love baseball, but I get into like, are the Orioles gonna get rid of Adley Rutschman? Like I love baseball. Like I care about all of it. Like I'm a nerd.
I know. I'm aware.
I'm a nerd.
When it comes to baseball,
yes. Not when it comes to AHL hockey.
Well, we're gonna learn some stuff in the next segment.
I'll take notes.
We've got Lucas Favali coming up in the next segment. Crunch are off to a great start, 9-4 on the year. Big win yesterday in Utica. Snapped a brief 2-game slide. 6-2 winners in Utica with 5 second-period goals. Lucas Favali will fill us in on the Crunch.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of Lightning prospects, but if you want to know about the Tin Caps or the Isotopes or any of the other minor league teams, like the Orioles got a bunch of good catchers in the minors.
That's a topic for another day because we're talking hockey next with our good friend Lucas Favali.
About the minors, like could they get traded? Could they be called up to the big league club soon? Anybody you think? Anybody?
They send guys up and down every day. 2 guys got called up today, as a matter of fact. So Lucas Favali.
Let's find out who it was.
Fill us in on that next on ESPN Radio.
It's winter meetings, bro. It's hot stove talk. No sports ever done anymore. I got a text from the number 129, Steve.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but it says please call. And then there's an 800 number. Seems legit. Did you see that Emmanuel Clase threw a strike on accident in one of the pitches he bet because the guy swung at a pitch that bounced on the plate?
No.
I think it might have been Volpe. But he ended up texting the person who made the bet, like, crying eyes. The guy swung at it. And after that, they were all like 50 feet inside, outside.
Interesting. Oh, I thought you were going to say that he said that didn't he claim that the text messages weren't about betting pitches? His lawyer was saying it was about something else.
Could you imagine you bounce a pitch and the guy swings at it and you have like $40,000 right?
Well, for him, he probably doesn't care, but like the guy
who bet.
Yeah, right.
No. The Padres have basically two starting pitchers right now. They don't have a first baseman. First base, starting pitcher, DH. Padres needs. I think they will trade for either Alcantara or Skubal. What if the batter had a prop bet that he was going to swing and miss at the same pitch? It's hysterical. What's sad is the Padres shouldn't need a slugger. I mean, when you've got Machado, Tatis, and Merrill, but they just didn't hit for power last year. No, the Tigers have come out and said they're going to trade him. The Renegades of Funk. Rage Against the Machine. Steve's a renegade of funk. Are you a renegade?
It's my nickname.
Yeah.
How'd you know?
Steve, Renegade of Funk Infante. I like it. It's got a nice ring to it.
All right, let's kick off hour number 2. We drive into our second hour. It's brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero. And as promised, we are so pleased to be joined by Lucas Favale, voice of the Syracuse Crunch, to talk about this team that is off to a fantastic start so far in the North Division. Lucas, thanks for coming on. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here and great to talk some pretty good Crunch hockey at the moment. A very good first month of the year for us here. So all good.
Yeah, a big win yesterday coming off those back-to-back losses at Charlotte, in Utica, down 1-0 after one period, and then just the floodgates open in that second period. 5 goals en route to a 6-2 win. How did that game seem to change on, with the, it goes from the first period to the second period and then the floodgates open. What happened? What changed the momentum in that game?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the Crunch played a pretty good first period, all things considered, even though they were down 1-0 yesterday, and just weren't rewarded for their good efforts. They took a penalty midway through, and Utica finally, they didn't score on the power play, but they built some momentum. They scored a goal there. But the Crunch really, all in all, 20 minutes in, even though they were down 1-0, you felt pretty good about where their game was. And then all of a sudden, I don't know. They had a couple of power plays. They did get a late power play in the first period, which carried over into the second. They didn't score on that, but you could feel the momentum building more because of that. The Crunch have had a very good power play all year, and they scored 3 power play goals last night, including a couple in the second period, and that really fueled the charge for the Crunch. They get 5 goals, like you said, in that period. It's only the 18th time ever the Crunch have scored 5 goals in a period. They get a hat trick from Dylan Duke in the game, his first career hat trick. It just was a night where the Crunch, while down, were playing well, and then finally started to get rewarded for their strong play in the second period. And they scored 5 goals on 8 shots. It wasn't like they threw everything at the net, but their chances were strong. They had a good bounce or two as well, and in the blink of an eye, it was 1-0 down to a 5-1 lead. It was a pretty solid 20 minutes for the Crunch last night.
What has allowed this team to start so quickly this year? Off to a 9-4 start, even with those 2 losses in Charlotte last week. What has, what's allowed for this?
I think, first and foremost, the Crunch have legitimately high-end players this year in the lineup and in the roster every night. That's not to take away from the guys who've been here over the last few years, but there is, this year in particular, out of the gates, the Crunch's top 2 lines, their top 6 forwards, are legit players. Jacob Pelletier is a guy, he's a first-round pick several years ago with Calgary. He is basically a point-per-game player in the American Hockey League. He's tied for the Crunch's team lead. Dylan Duke, he had a great rookie year last year, 20 goals as a rookie. Got off to a slow goal-scoring start, but he's got 5 goals in the last week. He's up to a team-high 6 goals on the year. He's also at 14 points. Connor Geekie, who we saw at the end of last year, a legitimate scorer at this level. And he has settled in after starting the year in Tampa Bay. He's been a dynamic player for the group. Their top 2 scoring lines are really good. Their power play is clicking to start the year. So offensively, this is one of the best teams in the league right now. And goaltending-wise, Brandon Halverson, who we saw last year, was their team MVP. He's been pretty good to start the year. He's got a couple of shutouts. Ryan Fanti on the back end in net as well. They kind of split starts, and he's been terrific. We saw him in bits and spurts last year, but he has really taken off so far this year as well. And then defensively, they're a pretty solid group. Steven Santino, their captain, leads the charge. Declan Carlisle is as good as it gets at this level as well. So it's a really well-balanced team. It's got some physicality. Now, a couple of guys got called up to Tampa Bay today, and Scott Sabarin and Boris Kachuk are pretty vital pieces of this team. They did not play last night, though, and the Crunch didn't really miss a beat. So I think it's a well-rounded group. It's a pretty deep team. There's a lot of depth on this roster as well. And so you put that all together, and you got a team that's off to one of its best starts ever so far through the first 13 games of the year.
One player you did not mention during that answer was Wojtek Stachowiak. What has allowed him to get off to such a fast start during his rookie season with the Crunch? What have you seen out of him that you like?
Yeah, he's been really good, and he's an older player. It's his first North American pro season. He's played some pro seasons in Germany, so it's a totally different game, of course, playing in Europe on a larger ice surface versus here. But he has got a terrific shot. He competes hard. He wins a lot of puck battles, and he's had. Last night he had the goal, which was the kind of opened the floodgates for the Crunch. A terrific shot from the right faceoff dot, just in the top right corner of the net. And he had a couple of goals last week similar to that as well. So he's a crafty player. He's been a big part of the Crunch's power play as well. Great find for the Lightning. You never know when a team at the NHL level signs a European free agent who maybe has never played in North America. You don't really know what to expect, what you're going to get out of that player, how they're going to transition to North America. But Wojtek Stachowiak's been terrific. He's been one of their better forwards all season long, and he's up to 5 goals on the year. He's at 9 points, and it's been a great find so far, and it's a guy who will certainly be a call-up option here this season for the Lightning as well.
Last year, the Crunch was statistically the best defensive team in the AHL, and then this year, you look at the standings right now and the stats, they lead the league in goals scored. Is that by design? Is that just because it's been a smaller sample size, or has there been any sort of philosophical change, I guess, with how they're approaching games?
Yeah, I don't think there's any philosophical change. I mean, Joel Bouchard still likes his team to play in a very structured system, that style. I think, quite frankly, I think there's just higher-end offensive talent on this team this year than we've seen over the last few seasons, and so that's fueled the offense. Defensively, it's a different group on the back end, and they had a really good group of defensemen last year. A couple of the guys are back, like I said, Steven Santini, Declan Carlisle, they lead the charge. Charles-Edouard Dastou, who started the year with the Crunch, another guy the Lightning signed from overseas. He was off to a great start in 4 games, got called up to Tampa Bay. We haven't seen him since. He was going to be one of their top defensemen as well. So it's a team right now that is, I'm not in flux by any stretch, but it's not quite as, I don't know, it's not as high-end, I guess, defensively as it was last year, where you had a Derek Paulie who had a terrific season here last year. Max Crozier was here as part of the top 6 defense. He's up in the NHL. Toby Bisson was a terrific AHL defenseman. He's in Laval now. So it's a different mix on the back end this year. Not to say that it's not going to end up where it was. Plus, they got great goaltending last year, too, between Brandon Halverson and Matt Tompkins. So I think it's still a really good defensive team. They are maneuvering their way through some guys who've been a little banged up. Roman Schmidt did not play last night. He was hurt. Declan Carlisle left the game in the third period yesterday, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. But, despite all of that, still a pretty good defensive team, and they've just added a bit more offense to their game as well this year.
Year 3 under Joel Bouchard, you mentioned his name there a moment ago. I guess what's impressed you about him? And, in terms of momentum from one season to the next, I would imagine that's tough, especially with a minor league hockey team, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of changeover from one year to the next. But in terms of the continuity that does exist with the coaching staff and some of the players who are back, how have you seen, I guess, him institute his philosophy? And I guess if you had to define his philosophy to someone, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, the first part of that question, I think the continuity on the coaching staff has been vital for this team and the organization. And we have the same 5 coaches. There's 3 coaches on the bench with Joel Bouchard, A.J. McLean, and J.D. Forrest. Those 2 were here last year on the bench as well. And then, the goaltending coach, Max Vaillancourt, he's up there. I don't know. The goaltending coaches are not super well known in the AHL, but he's got to be one of the best in this league, I would think, just based on what we've seen him do with the Crunch goaltending over the last couple of years. And then Jake Wheeler, the video coach of the Crunch. So having that continuity has been so beneficial for this team because they're all on the same page, the 5 coaches, and that helps deliver the message to the players in a more clear manner, more concise. It just gets the message across easier, I would think. And there has been a lot of turnover this year on the ice in terms of players. There are some of the core players back, like the Steven Santinis, the Declan Carlisles, Dylan Duke back for his second year, guys like that. But there's been a lot of new faces in here as well, and they kind of just jumped right in. And having that continuity from the coaching staff allows Joel Bouchard to get that message delivered right out of camp, where the Crunch want to be a hardworking team. They want to be a very reliable defensive team. They want to use some of that skill they have now. But it all starts from the back end and breaking out of the Crunch's zone, and that has kind of been the focus of this team for the last couple of years. Now, I think they've opened up the game a little bit more than they have the last 2 years because of some of the players they have up front, but it still all starts with their defensive zone coverage, and I think Joel Bouchard has done a terrific job with kind of establishing that over the last couple of years to make this a team that you don't really want to play. It's a hard-working team. It's a team that is very focused on the small details of the game, and a team that, whether it's a good game or bad game, will pour through everything, go over what's gone right, what's gone wrong, and make the adjustments as needed.
You mentioned a moment ago, Lucas, that you said there's more high-end talent on this team, especially offensive firepower, than maybe we've seen in years past. And that, I would imagine, kind of speaks to the parent club, right? And we've seen that these 2 teams, the Lightning and the Crunch, have been in lockstep. They both go to the playoffs every year. They both seem to be a contender every year. I guess, can you speak to that relationship? And maybe, we talk about philosophy. What is the philosophy within that Tampa Bay Lightning organization and how they treat, their minor league teams, especially the Syracuse Crunch?
Yeah, it's been such a vital piece. And it's funny you mention that because right now, the Crunch and the Lightning sitting on 99 players who have gone through Syracuse to play for Tampa Bay, players who played for both organizations. And potentially, if Scott Sapperin plays tonight, he got called up there. The Lightning are dealing with a couple of injuries. Scott could potentially be the 100th player, which would be a pretty cool milestone for the organization. And now Scott is not necessarily one of those high-end skill players we're talking about here, but it's been crucial to the success of the Lightning over the years to have an AHL team that is having success on the ice, where they allow their players the time it needs to be ready to get to the NHL level. I mean, some teams, just from an outside perspective, it looks like some teams rush their prospects through. Part of it is the Lightning have been so good at the NHL level for the last, decade, really, that they've had the benefit of having players mature longer at the AHL level, unless they are really ready for the NHL. They let them marinate here at this level, and then once they're called up, they are ready to go. And that has fueled the success for the Lightning. It has helped the Crunch succeed as well, because the Lightning put a high priority on not only getting their players here and giving them a chance to develop, but they want their players to develop in an atmosphere that is a winning atmosphere. So there is a significant investment in having this team be good on the ice. So they are in an environment where they're winning, and if you learn to win at this level, the idea is that you'll be prepared to win at the next level. And then, at the current day, Crunch Lightning situation, the Lightning have been so good and have had so many deep runs. They haven't had a ton of high draft picks. But over the last couple of years, Julien Brisebois has done a pretty good job of restocking the cupboard a bit, through trades, maybe later round draft picks, or maybe higher, maybe a reach, but someone who might be a diamond in the rough type of thing. And the Crunch have been the beneficiary of that. And some guys coming out of college as well have kind of blossomed at this level. So that's all combined to make this a pretty good team here this year.
Yeah, really well said. And now let's look at this next game. Friday night back home, Friday, Saturday inside the War Memorial. They've got Hershey on Friday, Belleville on Saturday. They've already seen Hershey. What can you tell us about this particular Bears squad that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, looking forward to Friday night. Military Appreciation on Friday, so the Crunch will be honoring all veterans and active military members, complimentary tickets. So some of those might still be available. SyracuseCrunch.com/military if you're in that group and you want to see if you can get a ticket for Friday night's game. But Hershey, if they come into town, they're obviously always one of the best teams in the league. The Crunch caught them early in the year. First two games of the year, beat them twice. A really impressive start to the year for the Crunch. But the Bears are always a good team, and you can tell they are really starting to find their game as well. Not quite maybe at the level that they've been the last 3 years, or they've been one of the best teams in the league, but still a team that you're going to have to bring your A game to beat. So that's a tough one on Friday for the Crunch. And then Saturday, Belleville, the Senators are the only team that's come in here and defeated the Crunch this year. They won here about a week and a half ago. 7-4 was a closer game than that with a couple of empty net goals. So it's a pretty difficult weekend for the Crunch. You'd love to win Friday night to set yourself up for a perfect week, but it's not going to be easy for the Crunch. Two teams that are hardworking, physical, and the Crunch hope to match that starting on Friday night.
Yeah, next up, as you said, Friday night, Hershey Bears, 7 o'clock start, Military Appreciation Night. Lucas, as always, we appreciate the time. Great stuff, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Lucas Favali, the voice of the Syracuse Crunch. And with that, we'll open up the phone lines the rest of the way. 315-437-7644. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Good job, Steve. Gabriel, it's funny you asked that if you dropped Steve and I off on like Shonard Street, if there'd be a difference. I don't know. I don't know why you would ask that question, but I grew up not even knowing that Shonard Street was like a bad place. My grandfather lived on Shonard Street.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And we refused to move. And we would, and like I went to, this is something you never would have done. I went to summer school, Steve, at Fowler, and I would like walk over to my
it's
grandfather's house. Yeah. And then I would, I made friends there, and I went to house parties on Shonard Street, like not even knowing it was like so weird. Like,
I grew up playing basketball at the Hamilton Street Boys and Girls Club, and we used to play Shonard Street all the time. I was at the Shonard Street Boys and Girls Club all the time.
Yeah, but I didn't even know. Like, my parents didn't teach us like that. Like,
yeah, it was just,
we
didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Or any different. Yeah.
But I definitely went to house parties there, and now looking back, I was like, Jesus. I was there like 2 a.m. drinking. When my grandfather passed away, they sold his house for $15,000.
Is that right? Who'd they sell it to? Like another family, or
I think they sold it to the city.
Yeah,
the city demolished it, and then it's just like a little grass park now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's there. I haven't driven by in a while. And if my grandfather wasn't home, I would walk further down to the bar that was at the corner of the street, and he'd be sitting there drinking. Yeah. I remember sitting at my grandfather's house and watching The Bananas. Was that the name of the show? Like the big furry guys, the guys in the big furry costumes. I don't know why that sticks out. We would watch that and Benny Hill.
I don't know what The Bananas is.
The TV show The Bananas. Yeah, the banana splits. Oh, these guys. It was like on repeat. Oops, sorry. Banana splits. Yeah, my dad grew up really poor. And then moved us up into the Infante neighborhood.
What'd your dad do for a living?
He was one of the higher ups at Liberty Mutual, like upper management. Ran the whole West Coast. A blacksmith. Yeah, made sense.
He was awesome. Yeah, he was great. Thanks for feeding me that last thing. That was good.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
Guerrilla Radio. Yeah. Rage Against the Machine. You ever rage against the machine, Steve? You just had enough? Is that what your platform was when you ran for school president?
Student council vice president?
Yes. Did you rage against the nuns in the machine of the church? Or were you a sheep? You said, I will uphold the laws and the commandments.
There was no raging against the machine in high school, no.
Yeah, especially.
You owe me, Tim. I voted for you yesterday.
I'll keep that in mind next time we vote.
It's kind of like a bribery.
Put that in your back pocket. Next time I'm like, come on, Tim, I need you today.
Also, for the record, I don't like Rage Against the Machine. I just kind of knew them, so I voted for them.
So
I didn't like the options yesterday.
I didn't like the options yesterday either.
How do you not like Roxette? Slick Rick has been announced at the Westcott.
You mentioned that yesterday off air. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Should we go?
Yeah, we should. We should also try and get him on the show.
We should try to get him on the show.
That's
That'd
another
be
one,
fun.
Tim. If you get Slick Rick on, I'll buy you dinner.
When is he coming? When's he playing?
December 12th, you said.
Yeah, December 12th, I said.
All right, I got some time.
I'll help you.
I feel like that one won't be as hard because he's coming here and he wants to sell
Coach
tickets.
K?
Well,
who's harder to book, Coach K or
probably Coach K?
One of them is playing the Westcott Theater in Syracuse. So
Slick Rick is coming here. He wants people to go.
I know.
And what better way to get people to go than to come on Orange Nation?
I have one of Coach K's good friends' phone number in my phone, and I've never asked for a favor.
I was going to say,
that's going to be the favor of all the things you ask?
Yeah. Like, what am I going to ask for? Money? Like,
no, but I mean, like, of all the guests, like that's the guest you're going to ask for?
Like, if I could ask Jim Boeheim for one guest, I think Coach K would be Mello.
Mello would be a better guest than Coach K.
I don't think so. Like, Mello's always around. He's here every game now.
Have we ever had him on the show?
No.
But we should change that. We should get him on.
I feel like we could get Mello without Boeheim's help.
How?
He knows other people. I know other people.
Okay. All right.
I don't think we could get Coach K without Boeheim's help.
I will say, you brought it up maybe in the Q Sports Talk break, but my producer mind out there, when you guys were talking about getting Coach K, that feels a little unrealistic. I can try, but feels unrealistic. But we should get Jim Boeheim on and ask him that question. What's he think about ACC Big East?
Yeah, we can. And then I put him on the spot and go, you know who came up with this idea? Coach K.
Rick Pitino has also said he likes the idea, too, already.
Oh.
So they're all talking about it, I'm sure.
If we could have Pitino on, we could ask him why he hasn't accepted the job at Syracuse yet.
I don't really agree with the idea, though. You were talking about it in kind of a positive light, Paulie, when you brought it up earlier, the Big East and the ACC merging in basketball. I'm with Steve. I think it brings a lot of questions. I don't really know if it's necessary either. The ACC, I feel like, is going to trend back up here in basketball. They had a good night last night, so maybe I'm overreacting to that. I think it's good for UConn. I mean, if you want to add UConn, I'd be all for that. But some of these schools in the Big East, I don't think that really enhances the portfolio of the conference.
I think if you're looking at it from the football perspective and you're going to be the fourth best conference every year, doing this helps with more money from the basketball side. If you can get
I just don't know how much money you generate from basketball. Like it helps you to be good in football a lot. I think Coach K is viewing this from a basketball lens, but if you
because what I heard is, quote, it was, if you're going to be fourth best in football, you might as well dominate basketball and be the money-making machine in basketball.
He said, I think, if you're going to be at least third best. He said the Big 12's doing well, and there's no way they're cracking the top two.
If you're worried about the future of the ACC, though, and the two teams in particular, the two schools in particular that want to leave, or at least before this year wanted to leave, Florida State and Clemson, I don't think Florida State and Clemson would be on board for this.
I'm not worried about them leaving anymore.
In the near future or temporarily, but if you're talking about...
I'm still worried about them leaving. Why would...
At some point... I mean, you're saying nobody wants them at present because they didn't have a good year?
I mean, clearly nobody wanted them.
I don't think they could get out of it. I think they were wanted
it. I think if somebody wanted them, they would have.
I would say this: if the grant of rights was up in like a year or two,
they would have jumped.
It would have been a different story.
Yeah.
I think.
People want UNC. Of course, they want Clemson and Florida State. I know they're down right now, but
I think if people wanted Florida State, they would have gone.
They couldn't leave. They tried everything they could.
No, they would have. Like, the conference that wanted them would have helped them. Nobody wanted to help them financially to get out of it.
But there's no reason necessarily for the conference to help them right now.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Both the Big Ten and the SEC.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Are they all of a sudden going to start struggling and need Florida State to help?
What I'm saying is if there was no exit fee and if the conferences didn't need help and Florida State was like, hey, we're a free agent over here, does anybody want us? They would have gone. The point is that it was exorbitant what the exit fee was.
Yeah, but that means they weren't worth it. Like, they're not going to help you.
But they could be worth it in 3 years.
Now, right? Yeah. Exactly. The exit fee goes down.
Like you just said, I'm not worried about them leaving. They're going to be a free agent in 2030, and
I don't think anybody. Like, I read multiple articles where nobody wanted them.
for that price. But if
nobody wanted that.
I don't believe that. And I think that some of it was, hypothetically, if there wasn't this price tag associated with them, would you take them? Nobody's going to answer that question publicly. If there was no grantor rights, and if they were, if this were the year 2029, it would be. My opinion is it would be like they would be fighting over who's going to get Florida State and who's going to get.
Why
Clemson.
would the SEC not want Clemson or Florida State? If they could add them.
I think there's other schools that they would rather have. I think they'd rather have UNC. I think
the SEC,
Virginia.
The one thing about the SEC to that point is I think Florida would be unhappy potentially about bringing Florida State in. But, I mean, that's the only drawback I see is
if Florida State goes anywhere, I think it would. If those two went anywhere, I think it would be to the Big Ten.
I don't know.
I don't see. No.
I mean,
because it increases the Big Ten's footprint south.
Yeah. Well, if the Big Ten wants them, then the SEC is going to want them because they want to stay.
I don't think either one of them wanted them. I think Florida State bit off more than it could chew.
Yeah, I think nobody wanted them at present time, given the circumstances. But again, if times change, like we keep saying 2030 like it's 100 years from now.
It's
right around the corner.
I like when people tell us to move on when we argue. Like, stop telling us to move on.
Well, you don't have to listen, Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Matt from Liverpool.
Yeah, hi guys. How are you today?
Good.
I got a actually football question for Steve.
Okay.
As challenging as the year's been, how would you feel about SU ending their regular season home game versus Boston College on a win?
I think you would feel good about that. I think that. The bigger thing is whether or not they win that game. I think they should win the game, first of all. BC's awful. But I think the more important thing is to lay the foundation for next season, right? And get these young guys in and get them experience. And some of that is with a win, right? You want to get them experience. It would be nice to get them experience in a win. So I'm not saying that it doesn't matter at all, but I think the experience probably matters more than the outcome in that game. But it would be nice for everybody involved, including the fan base, not to go into the offseason on a 8-game losing streak. So I think it's important to some degree, but I don't think the outcome is the be all and end all.
All right, thanks, Steve, and as always, go Orange.
All right, Matt. Thank you for
he doesn't want to
checking
talk to Tim and I. He just you.
One-on-one chat there.
Well, what do you guys think? Do you think? I mean, it matters to some degree if they win, but I don't think it's going to impact next year one way or the other. I think the more important thing is you get everybody experience. You try to hold that core together, keep guys from transferring. Like that's the most important thing right now is to start looking ahead to next year.
I hate being in this spot again as a Syracuse football fan where I don't care.
Yeah.
If they win or lose.
It doesn't really matter, but also for the players, I think it would mean something. I mean, they have seemingly stayed connected, continued to work really hard, and it seems like they deserve a win the way that they have treated the situation. So I think Fran Brown sort of owes the seniors putting out the best quarterback in a way and putting their best foot forward. But he's already started to, we're already seeing, the 4 captains are freshmen this week. He's starting to play a lot of freshmen. Whether he's going to outright say it or not, he is trending towards next year and looking towards next year, as he should.
Yeah. It is interesting you bring up the quarterback. I know we argued about that yesterday.
Yeah.
You're right, because if it's all about winning the game, then it probably should be Ricky. If it's all about let's see what we got and get these guys experience for next year, then it's the opposite of Ricky, right? So it's one of the two other guys or maybe both guys. So anyway.
Yeah, it would be Wasabi Dude's got to. It would be awful to lose to that BC team.
Yeah, they're bad. They're
BC
bad.
is terrible in everything
they should
right now.
BC out of the ACC.
Yeah.
Relegate?
Yeah.
Well, I said it last time we talked about them. I said, do they regret joining the ACC? I mean, I think their women's team took a bad loss. Women's basketball, we talked about Central Connecticut beat them. Football's got 1 win. They're trending towards one of their worst years, really.
Hockey's good, right? Men's hockey?
Yeah, I'm sure. Women's lacrosse, they crush it in women's lacrosse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. They got some redeeming qualities.
Yeah, the main sports, though.
I know. I was joking.
Right.
I wanted to ask a question, and now I forgot it.
Oh, no.
Great radio. Go ahead, Tim.
I can bring up, so the ACC basketball slate, you guys touched on it a little bit. I don't want to get in another argument here, but Paulie, when you said in the opening segment oh, no, this is the year that the ACC looks good and that's tough for Syracuse. I just disagree. I think you want the ACC to be as good as possible because...
Well, yes, I do, but it just... if everything was perfect and they were this talented last year, they would have been really good. You know what I'm saying?
What Paulie wants is for the ACC to be good now, and then January and February to not be good.
Yes,
right. So that Syracuse can win all those games.
Because
that's
like,
what he wants.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
It's not going to be as easy to win games in the ACC
if everybody's
as it would have been last year. Thank you.
That's what he's trying to say. Is that?
Yeah, but I'm worried that what if you said what yesterday, 50% chance they win a game in Vegas or 6? What if they come out of Vegas and they don't win a game? They desperately need the ACC to be good.
Yeah.
How are they going to get any quad 1 wins and get into the tournament from there?
Well, there will be quad 1 wins, but you've got to beat Duke.
I mean, the whole month of February is quad 1 for Syracuse. For the most
You're
part.
right, but you need like Clemson to be a quad. You need a potential home quad 1 win in there, or if you have 7 or 8 teams that are hovering around the bubble, that just helps Syracuse's net ranking.
Right. Miami, Pittsburgh, like you need those teams to be, in the
decent
50s and 60s. So, yes. But I understand your point is you're saying...
if Syracuse was rolling right now, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
If this was the CJ Fair, the Andy Routens era, I wouldn't care. I would like them to be able to get to the tournament easily.
To Tim's point, though, and what I brought up earlier is that if the ACC is just what it has been... Again, history tells us the last 4 years
how are they going to get there?
They've got either 4 or 5 bids, and I don't know that Syracuse is going to crack that top 4 or 5. So their best path, in my opinion, it sounds like this is what you're saying as well, Tim, is that if the ACC is better, and now all of a sudden they get 6 or 7 bids, that's SU's best path to the tournament is a better conference, 6 or 7 bids. Now you've got a little bit of wiggle room, and you don't necessarily have to crack that top 4.
And, speak of that, when Michigan beat Wake and Florida beat FSU, we might be heading down that road again where it's...
No, but those are great results, I'd say. I mean, FSU's picked to finish near the bottom of the league, and they almost won at Florida, number 10 team in the country. Michigan Michigan should have lost to Wake from what I saw that game. So I don't... yes, they missed a chance to get a win for the league, but those were great results. I was not expecting Florida State to even be in the game at Florida last night.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Do we want to take a break here and finish today's business on the other side since we got a little behind, or do you want to just...
I don't like this all of a sudden we got 2-part series.
Okay.
2 segments.
Okay.
We're not in a rush, are we? We don't have any guests.
You looked at me like you wanted to give a kicker, but I feel like we...
I think he's mad. We're arguing a lot in this segment.
All right, how about you give us one more item here, Tim, since we're not in a rush, according to Paulie.
All right, here's a fun one before we get to the kicker. Did you guys see the...
According to Paulie,
I mean, yesterday...
I'll fire the commercial right now.
Yesterday was all about we got to be on time, we got to be on time. Today, we're 5 minutes behind already, and you're like, no, more,
well, we don't
Tim.
have
Give
any
us
guests
more.
or anything.
Give us more, Tim. Give us more.
Are you new to radio? We don't have guests.
I'm not new to radio, but I
You're
thought,
acting like it.
I said, why don't we just take a break? We'll continue the conversation on the other side.
All right. Part 2 of this segment will come up next on Orange Nation on ESPN Radio Syracuse. You can roam at QSportsTalk.com.
I mean, Steve is right. You don't want someone to tune in for like a 4-minute segment if you can avoid it.
I was just going to finish the segment. We come back, wrap it up.
You talk about our rundown. Our rundown just talks about women's basketball.
I'm
That
getting
could be part of today's business.
I'm getting run down from talking to you today.
Well, save some energy for overtime, okay?
I got to download the app.
Why you want to be on time? So we can get to your stupid, precious WSYR work? And you're not here late? It all makes sense now. We got to follow the rundown all of a sudden.
Do I have to pay for this?
Being here, yes.
WSYR Plus. Is there a fee?
No, there's no fee.
Okay, all right.
Just download the app and it's
all
all
right.
yours.
That's
The
what it
plus
guys
usually means.
Now I know what it is because we have to do 20 minutes extra. He wants to be on time so he can go home quicker.
He's like, go home quick. I go into work.
Oh, I got to get to the place I love.
I got stuff to do.
Now it makes
When any
it
one of
all
you
makes
says,
sense.
let's take a break to get back on time, I'm going to applaud that for the rest of the time. To say, hey, Good thought.
Oh, Tim or Steve must want to get to WSYR and not give extra content here. I do not get paid by SYR Plus.
Nor do I.
Well, you do, technically.
No, I don't. This is just because this is for the love of the game. This is the love of the game. Me and you. We just can't get enough. 2 hours isn't enough. Let's just do more.
Is this?
Thank God Mario's here Friday.
Is Channel 9 more fun than this, Steve?
It's different. This is a different kind of fun.
That was a cop-out.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you watching. It's a new thing we're trying. We'll see how it goes. They want more content, so we're trying to...
Do you see, Sam Rothman well,
Yeah,
right?
no,
You see Rick Barnes?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Funny. Just came up on my Twitter again.
Sam is good people. She's one of my favorites. She's done very well for herself.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be, right in the thick of SEC football and all that. Plus, Tennessee's they're doing well in pretty much every sport, it seems like.
What was the last part you said?
But Tennessee's doing well in like every sport, You're covering big games.
When she got, it was like, we were talking about this when I saw her down in Atlanta. She said that basically it was like she got hired and then everything got good. Everybody got good right away.
Good job on the women's call last night, Tim, according to Sport Boy Tony.
Nice. Thanks for listening, Sport Boy Tony.
I didn't know his name's Tony.
I don't know.
Thanks for listening, Sport Boy. We don't know your name.
Sport Boy Tony.
I don't know.
Is that someone else's name?
I don't know.
Is your name Tony? Where did I get Sport Boy Tony?
I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. Hopefully he'll respond.
Did I just dox him?
I don't know. I don't know what his name is.
Where did I get that from? I just made it up? Bill is his name. Who's Sport Boy Tony? Sounds like maybe that's my burner account. I just made a remix that sounded pretty good.
They call it a mashup? Is that what the kids call it?
You ready? You ready to rock? Rage Against the Machine. Nothing says Steve Infante more than Rage Against the Machine.
I'll be honest with you. I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind that song.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I don't picture you driving your minivan around and listening to Rage.
No, I don't.
What about like Metallica? Would you?
It's not my genre, but I mean, there are certain songs that I don't mind, or if I come across it, I'll listen, and that is one of them that you just played. All right, let's get back to today's business. Did we ever tell anybody what it's brought to you by?
I don't think so. Superior Plus Propane.
Thank you.
Of course,
we can't forget that.
Bringing the heat,
literally. So before we get to the women's basketball game from last night. This has been on the rundown for a little bit. I've been wanting to get your guys' thoughts on this. Did you see the fake punt USC ran over the weekend?
I did.
Yes.
So to set it up for anyone that missed it, USC, before the game that week, took their third-string quarterback and changed his number to number 80, which is the same number as their punter. And then they brought him out almost in disguise and threw for a first down on a fake punt. Of course, he threw a good pass, and it worked.
Wait, third-string quarterbacks can throw good passes?
Yeah.
Wow. Shocking.
So it technically is illegal because you can't have the same position utilized by two players with the same exact number. Of course, they use the punter just for normal punts as well, wearing number 80. But they didn't find it in the rule book because if you're the ref, how do you even know when 80 goes out there? So should this be illegal? Like, should they be better about?
So, yes, it should be illegal, and it is illegal, as you just mentioned, that you can't have the same player, you can't have two players play the same position with the same number. The interesting thing about this, and the part about this that is actually brilliant, is that the flag, they did it on their first punt. So technically, the flag would have been on the actual punt. Like the fake punt was legal because it was the first punt. So the guy who came out in 80, the backup quarterback, that was legal. It was the second punt when the actual punter came out in 80 that would have been illegal. So if the opponent had called him out on it and made the refs aware of it and they threw a flag, it would have just been on a punt. And then, at that point, I don't know what they would have done. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
So I think it's only a one-time thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would have been one flag on one punt. And it's
probably worth it.
It is probably worth it. So it's interesting because I know people are upset about this, but in a way, like it was actually brilliant what USC did. And even if they got caught, or even if they I guess they knowingly broke the rule, and if they got called out on it, then what would it have cost them? Well, it just cost them a 10-yard penalty or 15-yard penalty, whatever, and then they punt again. So I don't know if we'll see this much moving forward because it's got to be like the exact right scenario to pull off the fake punt the first time that you punt, because you're not going to fake punt on your own 10. So it was around midfield, if I remember correctly. Yep. It felt like the right play, and they were like, okay, let's do it. Anyway, it is a fascinating thing, but no, that should not be legal.
Yeah, the Northwestern coaching staff handled it pretty well. They were like, we're going to look through the roster every single morning of the game now and make sure that we don't see anything wonky like this. And they said, it's totally fair game what they did. We don't think it was bad play or anything.
And they were notified prior to the game, is my understanding, is that they knew. Isn't that right? I don't know if they necessarily notified Northwestern, but USC declared the number change, whatever protocol they had to go through. I think they did
it a couple weeks ago, actually.
Okay.
And the USC head coach was like, why am I blanking on his name? Lincoln Riley was like, thankfully you guys didn't notice it or you didn't ask questions about it.
Yeah. So they've been planning on it. Again, I think it was one of those things, we're going to pull it out. It's really one of those things you can only do once, right?
Yeah.
In the whole season. And so when are you going to pull it out? And it paid off and it worked. And but I can't imagine this is going to happen too much, because now it's like lesson learned, not just for Northwestern, but it's like lesson learned for everybody. And now you would assume coaches are going to be looking for this kind of thing.
We do know Steve Angeli can punt a little bit, though. So maybe you throw him back there and, I'm kidding. All right, women's basketball last night, another easy win for them as expected. They're off to a really nice start to the year. 96-72, they took down Canisius. Big takeaways from this game. Layla Filia went for 22 points, and she was feasting in the mid-range. She joked post-game that Kyrie Carter, the assistant coach, said, you cannot take a three until you make a shot from the mid-range, because she's been settling for threes a little bit too much lately. And Layla also joked that she thinks she's trying to be too much like her teammates Maddie Potts and Sophie Burrows and just needs to get back to scoring in the mid-range. They basically made every mid-range jumper in the first two quarters. Cooled off a little bit. One thing that I was discussing with Coach Jack after the game is she's still trying to figure out what are the right lineups, and she's a coach that really does like to go deep into the rotation, but she's seen too much of a drop-off in her eyes right now when they do go to the second unit. So they had a very similar script to the Stony Brook game where they dominated the first quarter with the starters out there, second, third quarter not so good, and then they dominated the fourth quarter with the starters back out there.
It's funny you bring up the mid-range jumpers. I don't know if you saw our highlights last night on News Channel 9, but that stood out to me. Mario cut the highlights when he got back, and it was like pull-up 15-footer.
Yeah.
It was like the other elbow, pull-up 15-footer. Like they were all like...
As someone who calls the game, I was like, man, I got to come up with new ways to say mid-range jumper.
Yeah, it was. It was just like they'd pull up at the foul line, they'd make it, and it was textbook and it was fundamental. And I know there are a lot of new...
school.
It was old school. And I know there are a lot of new pieces on this team. The player that really has stood out to me is Dominique Darius. And her ability to really control the game and get to the basket. She's able to finish through contact. She's she's good at assisting and looking for her teammates. She had 4 steals last night. She just seems like she's in complete control. Somebody asked me last night at News Channel 9, is she like De'Asia Fair? De'Asia Fair was a shot maker, and she was so good from 3. Dominique, and you watch him more than anybody, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but she just seems to be like a complete kind of floor general, but who can also score the basketball. Like she does a little bit of everything. She plays good defense. She looks for her teammates, and she can find the bottom of the net as well.
Yeah, she's 5'10" and basically playing the point guard position, which is pretty tall for the women's game. And she just seems like someone that would be very fun to play with. Yeah. Like, she had a couple no-look passes last night, and she goes for a career-high 21 points. She was very effective. Her and Layla Filia did a great job of getting to the line and then converting at the free throw line. They were combined 12 for 12 at the line. So you love to see that from your guards. I do think she's been very good so far, and the coaching staff was really raving about her in the preseason practices. And in the first exhibition game, I don't remember if she scored or if she did score, it was like a couple points. And I was kind of like, oh, man, I thought she was going to play better than she did in the first exhibition game. They talked about how maybe she was just a little bit tight. This is a new role for her where she has been a very, very talented player that has been stuck behind other very talented players at UCLA and USC. Now, as Coach Jack is calling it, we're giving her the keys to the Mercedes, Coach Jack says. And she's really optimistic that now that she has a runway to be a full-time starter, she's going to be a very good player this year.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about finding the right fit, and went to UCLA, went to USC, and dealt with some various things, and now she's here, and third time is hopefully the charm for Dominique and this team. Again, I know the competition has been subpar to this point, but just like with the men's squad, there's certain differences that I think we feel confident saying about the men's team from last year to this year. And the women's team, like I feel confident saying this team is a lot more talented. And they seem like they've got a lot more pieces than they did last year.
Yeah. One downside, Sophie Burrows has been struggling with her shot a little bit. And Coach Jack said in the post-game press conference that we just need Sophie to kind of have fun out there. She's carrying a little bit of a burden of, I'm the lone returning starter. I'm now the star on this team, one of the stars. Good news is she really doesn't have to be quite as much of a star as last year because they do have these pieces we're talking about. But she made her first 3 of the season last night, and the crowd let out a big cheer, almost trying to give her a boost. She's just 1 for 9 from 3, and she shot at 39% last year from 3. So I'm sure that will start to fall. It's kind of how I feel about Nate Kings, because anytime I'm at practice or anything, Sophie Burrows is always making shots, and she's always out there early working on her shot.
Have we just in the past 5 minutes lost complete regard for time all of a sudden?
All right, get you a kicker, Paulie, quickly.
No, do I have time?
Yes, you do. You have time.
You guys just threw caution into the wind there.
Well, this is why we needed to take a break in the last segment.
Isn't it a good thing that you listened to us? Yeah. We would be 2 breaks behind.
The fact that a 9-year-old child was unloading passengers off a carnival ride was listed as the contributing factor to an incident when patrons fell out of an open car that was in motion. According to British Columbia safety regulators, the May 31st incident happened as 2 passengers exited the zipper ride and the operator activated the ride. The 2 of them fell 6 to 8 feet, breaking multiple bones.
Lawsuit.
Why on earth is there a 9-year-old carny? Like, would you get on a ride where there was a 9-year-old operating any part of it?
No.
Like, does that not set up red flags? And I shouldn't be laughing at the story, but...
I mean, there had to be an adult there with them, right? The 9-year-old couldn't have been the sole operator. Yeah. So some adult had dropped the ball there, obviously.
The regulator... Yeah, well, obviously, someone was breaking the law if a 9-year-old was working. The regulator noted that the zipper is considered a more advanced ride to operate and is normally run by more experienced employees. Despite there being a warning sign on the attraction saying people should not ride it while under the influence of drugs or alcohol, the two customers did appear intoxicated also. So there's sides, both sides are guilty.
Was the 9-year-old old enough, tall enough to ride
the ride? Yeah, if there was a 9-year-old buckling me in, I'd be like, get me off this ride right now. Was the kid sober is the next question.
Okay, thank you, Paulie. We're going to take a time out here. We'll wrap things up next on ESPN Radio.
I blame you were blocking the time. I couldn't even tell.
Yeah, I can't even tell either.
That's my excuse.
It says 6:41 till the top of the hour, so there was a countdown.
I mean, how
bad clock management.
I didn't know what that meant.
Bad clock management.
could have checked my phone, I guess, but
I want to reset it.
I usually kind of glance up at that. You know, that was my. It's like a shot clock. You gotta have that in your.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are you doing up there? Like, what's going on?
Oh, it's actually. You know how you guys don't recognize that? It's the chat.
Well, I recognize it, but why would Steve recognize it?
You guys ignore it because it's the chat, and you don't care about the chat.
What?
You guys ignore it. They're below you.
What does that have to do with the chat?
The chat was blocking it.
Well, that's
I have the chat open so I can talk to him.
Yeah.
Can't you minimize it?
Yes.
I didn't realize it was blocking it, Steve.
But don't blame me.
No, I will blame you because you were like, "What is that?" Clearly, you don't know because it's the chat. And
Well, why would he know what the only way you can get that is on that computer?
Stop. I'm trying to make him look bad in front of the chat. He did. I'm not mean.
Andrew Marchand says there is potential momentum for YouTube TV and ESPN finalizing a deal.
It's affecting us at Channel 9.
Can the 9-year-old Carney throw a pass? That's funny.
That's fun. That is funny.
That is funny.
Is his first name Luke?
I get it. Luke Carney. Didn't even think of that.
Louisville is working on a contract extension with your guy, Steve, Jeff Brom.
Oh, I can't stand him.
Another one that might be off
stand.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can name him.
Do you see there's smoke that John Gruden might go to Arkansas? Like, legitimately? People are saying
even
that?
on TV after what he did?
Yeah.
How are some people impervious to cancel culture?
It's a great question.
John Calipari.
He's on the list.
Russell Westbrook.
On the list.
James Harden.
On the list.
Yeah. Rick Pitino?
On the list.
Yeah.
Not as bad as the other three, but he's a little bit further down the list.
What's the list?
People Steve hates.
I don't know. I'm not going to put Rick Pitino on that list. I don't hate him. No, he's not on the list. He's not on the list.
Zach Spiker.
Definitely not on the list.
I'm kidding.
Paulie Sibilia.
Not on the list.
Petrino. Is he on the list?
On the list of people I hate? I mean, I don't respect him, but no, I don't hate
Do you
him.
respect Pitino? I don't respect Pitino.
I mean, no.
Will Wade, you hate, right?
Chris
I
Bell.
do hate Will Wade. I don't hate Chris Bell.
That's a good question, LA Orange.
Chop him more.
I don't hate Chris Bell. Don't hate Chop him.
I know one former player that you have beef with.
Oh boy, I need to hear this. When the mics
That's an
are off.
off-air. That's an off-air conversation.
I think it's only in Steve's head.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Oh God, I'm excited. Can't wait for Orange Nation overtime when you break that one down. Not.
Jim Calhoun.
No, I think we've pretty much hit on the list.
What about Dan Hurley? Do you have mixed feelings there? Because
I do not like Dan Hurley.
I hate
okay,
that guy.
good. Yeah,
Do not like
I'm
Dan.
not a
Dan
fan.
Hurley, Trent Grisham are on my list.
Trent Grisham is
That's
such
so
an
random.
innocent. Just an everyday outfielder.
You guys just
And he had a
don't
great
know.
year.
He was
That's like saying like John Bola Jock or something. Like,
brutal for the Padres. He was their starting center fielder for years. Satan?
yes,
Hate that guy. Good one, Spatchin.
that is a good one.
Ed Gein, the serial killer. Did you watch that show? Woof, that's weird. Watch that on Netflix. You'll have nightmares. They based the Texas Chainsaw Massacre after that guy. People of the Sun. Yeah, word. I used to be a person of the sun, but now I live in central New York.
Not much sun today.
We're people of the clouds here.
The snow right now.
The gray. People of the gray. All right. Artist of the day tomorrow, just because he has been announced to be playing the Westcott.
Nice.
We are going to bring one of the greatest lyricists of all time. I've already invited you to go see him in concert once, and you shot me. I think twice.
Once, and I told you I couldn't.
Because I went to see him at the fair, too. I've seen Slick Rick twice now.
Okay. Well, the time that you asked me, you know that I couldn't.
So he's also been an Artist of the Day here before, so the ruler will be back.
So this is Tim's in to try to get him on the show, is that we're going to name check his Twitter handle or whatever tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then that opens the door for, hey, do you want to come on our show?
I'll slide in his DMs.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, you just be like, hey, ruler, what's up? Call him the ruler.
I'll go to that show with you guys. I could walk to that theater from where I live.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
The three of us.
December 12th.
Slick Rick, children's story.
That is one of my favorite songs.
He performed his show
It's a Friday.
very clean at the fair. He worked clean at the fair as opposed to what I saw at the Kodak place at Rochester.
I mean, it is a different audience, so good for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Ice-T did not give a damn that he was
good
at
for
the
him.
fair.
I have more respect now for Slick Rick.
Ice-T came out and said, if you brought your kids, that's your problem. And if you're here to see the guy from SVU, you're in for a big surprise. And it was bonkers.
Wow. See, I have more respect now for Slick Rick. Okay. Very good. We are out of time. Tim, quickly, what do you got cooking tonight?
I don't even really know. I think I'm going to talk basketball and football off the top, some takeaways that I haven't gotten to this point, and then, welcome your phone calls. I do want to talk a little bit. We haven't spent a ton of time on the news that Notre Dame might drop that football game against Syracuse next year, so I'll probably touch on that. Maybe some more of my thoughts on the Big East ACC merger as well, which I don't think it's going to happen.
How many times do you come on this show and then you're like, man, I got to address something Stephen Paulie said, and then that gives you a segment?
Maybe like 15% of the time.
Thank us for that.
Pick a percent.
Yeah.
Thank us for giving you show prep.
I did that yesterday a little bit because some of the picker percent topics got my mind thinking a little bit more.
All right. That's drive
teamwork.
time.
Yeah.
With Tim Leonard, 5 to 6. Mike in Mattydale says, whatever that show's called, I listened to it.
And I like it.
He called in yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. That's his ad. That was an actual review of a show. Whatever your show's called, I listened to it. That's
and I
Mike
like
and Mandel.
Yes.
I don't think he said I like it.
I think it was inferred. It was.
No,
of course he likes.
Quit being nice. That's not the review. You can't just add words to people's reviews.
Okay.
The actual review was whatever your show's called, I listened to it. Mike and Mattydale. That's what it would say on the inside of
After
the
a month of making up the reviews, now we can't make up reviews. All right, we got to go. For Tim, for Paulie, I'm Steve. Enjoy the rest of the day, everybody.